I'm Kalila Indivar. I'm the director of Smiling Moon Dance.
And did you come up with the idea for Dances with Death?
Yeah, so Dancing with Death came about because in 2009 we had several friends, relatives, and whatnot pass away. So the show itself is dedicated to 4 people, 3 of whom passed away in 2009. But in addition to those people, we also had, and by we, I mean my family, we also had several acquaintances and relatives of acquaintances and those kinds of things that all passed away in a single year. So rather than sitting around and getting depressed about it, we tried to take kind of a more analytical approach. So I started looking at the way people were dealing with the funerals that we were attending. 2 funerals in particular. We had one where a friend was dying of cancer. She was one of the main inspirations for a piece we do called Grace. And her husband actually wrote the music shortly after he passed, or after she passed. She chose to have her memorial service before she passed away so that she could be around to enjoy it. And it was really, several of us who went through that experience with her keep referring to the gift of her death, because she chose to share very openly what was going on in her life and made it that much easier for everyone else to deal with.
So how did that translate to a fringe belly dancing show?
To a fringe belly dancing show. So that became one piece, examining how much easier it is for the people around you when someone's able to pass with grace. We had another friend kill himself, who inspired the piece called Surviving. And so we just started collecting different things, and I started collecting different things in the way people deal with death and the fact that it's all around us in our culture everywhere.
Shanaz, Bahara, and I'm the assistant director for Smiling Moon's Dancing with Death.
And what is your part in this?
I'm one of the featured dancers as well. Aside from dancing in 3 different numbers in the show, technically, I'm also kind of the person that acts as the go-between for the director, and I've been kind of trying to keep everybody together. I've also been working with some of the dancers about with proper emotive responses in dance. I'm here to bring more theatrics to the show and kind of bring that aspect out.
And what does that entail?
Trying not to beat my head against the wall. No, it's I know a lot of dancers in the belly dance community specifically that approach dance as just a dance. I have a theater background, so to me it's about reacting to the other dancers. It's about bringing emotion to the pieces as opposed to just getting up and, shimmying and looking pretty. There's a lot of emotion you can bring out with dance, and I've kind of been trying to assist with bringing that out in the dancers. It's not just about going on stage, A, B, C, I did my dance, and then getting off. So I've been kind of trying to work with everybody and bring more emotion into it and help bring Clee's very unique vision to life. And try to make sure Clee doesn't go crazy. That's been like job number 1.
Well, you'd think a play like Dances with Death is inherently emotional.
It's very emotional. It's a very emotional show. There's some pieces in it that even the first time I saw them, I was just sobbing like a big baby. But it's interesting because there's different emotions. I mean, there's fun and there's a little bit of camp and there's very, very raw emotion in the show as well.
And how do you bring that out as a belly dancer?
That's a really good question because I think everybody kind of has a different approach. Whereas with me, it's about, I'm really big, even in my own choreographies, with, kind of developing a character and a sense of mood and everything. So to me, it's about kind of getting to the nitty-gritty and like trying to feel the role that you're playing. But I grew up in a musical theater and studying Stanislavski, so I have a very weird approach. Belly dance is one of those things where people, I think, automatically assume it's one thing. When you think belly dancer, you think girl in a sequin dress, dancing around in the cafe and, with pretty veils and whatnot. And the show, I think, has kind of been a step out of the comfort zone even for some of the dancers because they've kind of been forced to think about, okay, I'm not a cabaret dancer in this sense. I'm a ghost, I'm a zombie. How do I bring that about? So it's taking the core movements that we learn over the years and learning to tweak them slightly to evoke a sense of mood and a sense of character. And it's done a little bit differently. I'm big on also it's not acting, it's reacting. So for me, a lot of it is reacting to what the other dancers are doing on stage.
people deal with death and the fact that it's all around us in our culture everywhere. Everything from questions of the afterlife to people passing away to zombies and vampires. You can't walk into a Barnes & Noble without seeing zombies and vampires on every shelf, it seems. So we just put them all together, looking at the ubiquitous nature of death in our culture. My husband wrote the music for a few pieces. We use a little bit of pop music for some of them. And then we have photographic essays to help transition between the different pieces.
So what are the challenges of doing this piece at a Fringe as opposed to some other venue?
I don't know about challenges. I love that it is Fringe because the audience, I think, is much more welcoming of such a diverse selection of pieces, I guess. It is, of course, limited to the hour, which we don't have time to do super fancy makeup for our zombies. We have literally 30 seconds in some cases. So, slap on the white, put on a little black, hi, I'm a zombie! And so of course there's a little bit of staging. We can't add additional interludes, I guess, to make it longer, to make that a little bit easier to accomplish. But
Okay, and actually kind of running out of power here. What are some last thoughts? What is driving you in this?
I find it really interesting that I continue to revisit the grief over these people who passed away as we go through the artistic process to get it out. They're not things that affect my everyday life anymore, but this artistic process certainly brings them out. But it's just shared community, I guess. That was the way to articulate that. The kind of the community effort and the sharing in the grief and the sharing in how we see life and death to continue with our daily lives. You can't dwell on those things. So this is a way to deal with it and to move on.
Okay, well, thank you very much.